Because welcome to our live call. I mean, everyone's here, so no one's really going to need the replay of this, but we'll do it in case somebody has to pop off or whatever. Our first live call of Cultivate Your Content. Yay! So exciting. You guys don't even know like how pumped Brogan and I are for this. And actually the one really cool thing about Aileen's like launch, like one of her questions about like sales goals and whatever, I was like, I loved it when I saw it because for us, because we have such a different like approach to like content in general, for us, it was about like the kind of launch we wanted to have, and we wanted it to feel more relaxed and like, and it wasn't about the numbers for us. It was obviously about having enough numbers that like, it felt like it was a group. But anyway, so we're just excited for all 5 of us to do this together and for it to keep growing in the future. So anyway, we should do let's do like expanded intros. Like we've all read everybody's kind of basic intro, but maybe talk a little bit about the content that you currently create. And then I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that, Brogan.
No, I think that's everything. And just always a fun random fact because they're always good. Just
we like fun random facts around here.
Exactly.
And Glenneth likes fun. Glenneth is fun. So that should be easy. All right. Well, Brogan, you go first. Kick us off.
Okay. So I'm Brogan, for those of you who don't know, although I think I've pretty much almost had either met almost everyone face-to-face or at least Instagram chatting. I'm a content strategist and writer for the most part, which basically just means that I get to spend my days with content, which I really love. I love consuming it. I love producing it, writing it, reading it, all of the things. I love just seeing how versatile content can be and how it can be used in so many different situations with different businesses, different industries, and how different people do it. And that was really part of the inspiration behind the whole content her way philosophy for me, was just cutting through all of the crap with all of the shoulds that everyone was saying that you needed to do, and just honing that down and helping people to be able to create things that they were proud of and that they had really fun with. And so that's something that I get really passionate about. I live in Australia, and if you can hear the birds in the background, they're going nuts because there's literally a tree right outside my window that's in fruit right now, and they're like going nuts over it. So we've got some nice ambient background today. And then other random fact, I think I did share this in my Facebook intro, I think, just that I'm like always obsessed with curly hair products because they're just so fun to try. And I try and stick to like one product and then I get bored and want to try more. So yeah, thank you for helping me fund my curly hair product stash, guys. I appreciate it.
She also likes pulling her curls. She'll pick
one.
I
do.
And then
I
she
play
like
with
pulls
them all
it
the
down
time.
And she plays with it. It's hilarious. Glenneth, do you want to go next?
Sure. Can you hear me? So I'm Glenneth. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's dark in here because I have the lights off in the office. I just had a cornea transplant and the bright lights just really bother me. I'm an SEO and Google Ads expert, and I really don't like creating content. Like I like writing tutorials or how-tos or do this, but like content, purposeful content to share across social media doesn't. I'm more of a wing it in the minute. Let's see what I feel like. Let's throw something and see what happens. Kind of no planner. I mean, that's really it. And a fun fact is I have like 10 pink hoodies at this point. I love pink. I love hoodies. So I keep buying all the ones I see. And now I've started buying them when I go on trips. That's my souvenir to myself, is a pink hoodie from the city that I've been in.
Can you tell, like, does it have a city on it? Like, how do you remember where it's from?
Okay, yeah, I'm buying them that, like, I have an I Love New York, and I bought a Yellowstone and a Folly Beach, and so that's my new thing, is as I go places, I'm just going to get a hoodie that says the name of it.
And I love that they're all pink and that you have enough occasions.
Oh my gosh, my wardrobe is just, I literally am wearing a hoodie every day this week, and they're all different and they're all pink.
I love it. The one thing I will say that you do with social content really well is you share your day, like the behind the scenes of your business. I don't do that well at all. So like we all have our strengths, and like for you, it's so easy to be like, here's my crush it list today. And I worked at Starbucks and I have these many client calls and now I'm going to the gym, and like you show like the balance of what you're up to, and you do that so well. So like at least you're doing something and you're doing it consistently, right? Like you're on the right track. So it's great.
If I could just show a little bit of what I actually do.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to know what you do on your client calls.
Yeah.
The results you get for your clients.
People are like, you go to the gym a lot. I'm like, I really don't. It's just that's easy to put up there.
Yeah. I totally get it. Anik, you want to go next?
Okay, so my name is Anik, and well, I also love pink. I'm not wearing any pink, but I wish I had so many pink hoodies. That would be fun. Let's see. So my content style is that I'll like post for a little while and then I like completely disappear for like weeks to maybe months at a time. And I think what happens is like I start feeling like a lot of doubt or fear or whatever. And then I just like completely just shut down, kind of withdraw. That's like that's been my strategy. It's not really a good strategy. So, but I think I'm good at being authentic. I think I'm good at like bringing like an honest, vulnerable voice to when I do share. I think that's one of my strengths, and people reflect that back to me a lot, that they like appreciate my honesty in my sharing about my life and what I've been through, and and that they feel like it's real and relatable. And so I think that's a strength. I just, I would love to just feel have the confidence to be more consistent. And I don't mean like every day, but just, like consistent, however I define that for myself, rather than these like sprints and then like complete disappearing. And I don't know if it's fun, but a random fact about me is that I'm like having this kind of like obsessed with that singer Post Malone right now. I don't know why. I'm like like Google him and like research about his life and really like into all his songs, and I don't know, like I don't even know why. I'm just like kind of fascinated by this guy. Yeah, so it's kind of random.
I love me. I do that with Jason Momoa. I just started like, oh, okay, yeah. So he's so most recently in Aquaman, but like I've watched him like way back in like sci-fi, like Stargate Atlantis. Like I absolutely loved him in that. And yeah, I do the same thing. I'm like, who's he married to? Like, does he have any kids? Like, how does he spend his time? Like,
I'm like, he's only 26. I'm like, my husband's like, really? What? Why are you so interested in this person? I'm like, I don't know.
I actually didn't realize that he was that young. I thought he was
looks
like
a lot older. I'm like, man, he is right in life hard. I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes, but I'm sure he's doing something.
Yeah, it's not.
He does not look a great for his age. Yeah. So anyway, I have this like fascination with him, and I like his music, and yeah, I kind of like love top 40s kind of music.
So good.
You want to take it away, Aileen?
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can turn my video on.
Hello. Oh, yay.
Hello. And then I'll turn it back off again. Sorry, my internet is really bad here because we're kilometers away from the nearest anything. So usually I turn video on and then I freeze. Usually in some really bad pose, I'm like... So, hello everybody, I'm Aileen. I'm in New Zealand, on the west coast, like I said, next to a surfing town, and we've got quite a big town near us, so that's actually where I work, and fortunately I get to work from home quite a lot. I am a senior software developer by trade, so I actually work full-time, being a nerd, which is awesome. And then a few years ago when I got made redundant, I went to art school, And so now I am an artist on my weekends. So I have Fridays off, and that's my studio day. And I get into the studio. And usually these days I create content because I don't have time to do anything else. So that's been my content strategy. It's like, I've promised you this thing. Oh, now I have to make it for you. And so, yeah, then it's just trying to get that done. And by the time I've done that, the weekend's over and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, back to work. So I did a Patreon launch earlier this year, which was really big for me because I was like, if I start this thing and no one signs up, that's going to be really sucky, but I did it anyway. And then I started video for that. And at the same time, I just got a baby rescue goat. And I live with a couple of, well, a bit older than teenagers now, but they were being really loud inside, so I couldn't film inside. So I was like, right, I'm going to go outside. And I had the baby goat with me. And he was trying to jump in my lap and eat my gumboots and all sorts. But it was actually really cool because it just relaxed me because it was just completely stupid. The blooper reel was awesome. And so I've just kept doing that. And that's what I like doing, is going outside, having the goat jump all over me while I record. And that seems to have been working, but it just takes so much time to do. And yeah, I don't hear a lot from my people as to whether they're enjoying it or not. So I don't know. Anyway, and a random fact, well, usually it's the goat, but you already know about that. Oh, and belly dance is usually the other random fact that I pull out, but I just told you about that too. So yeah. Yeah,
those are great things though. I love it.
All right, I'm going to disappear again before I freeze.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, I guess I will wrap it up. Well, not like the call up, but like wrap up the introductions, just in case anyone was like wondering. Say what? How long is this call? Yeah, 15 minutes.
Yeah, hi, bye, we're done.
Absolutely not. I think, I mean, I won't tell you too much about Modern Planner. Most of you know that already. But I would say that like content for me right now, basically the last like year has just been like one big massive experiment. One experiment after the other. And that's been new for me and hard for me because as a planner, I like long-term, well laid out, thoughtful, very detailed plans for everything. And that just wasn't working for content because the issue is like, I wasn't committing to anything. Like, funny story, the start of my Instagram feed, like my Instagram handle, I had gotten the modern_planner. Somebody else had the regular one, so I had to do the underscore. And I had gotten it and saved it so that I would have it. But I was trying to like create a plan for like, what will I do with Instagram and like all the rules and the shoulds. And then one day Joseph just said to me, oh, by the way, I made your account public. And I was like, sorry, say what? I was like, you did what on me? And basically that's my content journey. I want to have this plan, and then somebody decides to like push me off the cliff and say, go for it. So like Joseph made me start Instagram. Brogan's like, yeah, Catherine, just like do more video, like just do it. Or I'm like, okay, do shorter things. And right now for me, the big thing is like audio. Like I love it way more than typing out emails. I feel like it's a lot more personal. I'm getting mostly amazing feedback from my community that they really enjoy listening to my emails rather than like reading them, except for the speed readers. The speed readers don't like it because listening to my email now might take like 1 minute longer than it did to read them. But this is actually what I said back to somebody the other day. I said, well, actually, it's very purposeful. I said, my whole community, everything about Modern Planner is trying to help people slow down, be intentional, create the space for what matters. If you want to get my emails and they matter to you, then it's okay. Take 4 minutes and listen to my lovely message and you will feel better after. Anyway, so just sorting through all of that, but it's been good. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. And a fun fact. I grew up doing musicals. I wouldn't say I was a triple threat. acting was never a strong suit, but I was definitely a double threat. And I would sing and dance on the stage all the time. And I actually grew up doing classical ballet. So I did point shoes and tutus. I flew to the States for ballet summer school. And actually my college degree is a double major in dance and vocals. So surprise! If you ever want a little song and dance, I'm your girl. But yeah, so that's a little random fact that now that I'm like so far removed from it, not as many people know about, but I did fill in. I ran a performing arts academy. I started it and then I ran it for 7 years, a nonprofit. And just in the end of September, I went back and substitute taught for a night. It was like a 3 and 4 year old class and then a 5 to 7 class. And I came home and I was like, yeah, don't miss teaching dance, specifically to little children. I'm like, I much prefer teaching adults. And it was so weird because for like 2 decades of my life, it had been dance and teaching. And I was a dance instructor for over 20 years of my life. And so it was just like crazy. But yeah, so that's my little fun fact. Awesome. Well, that was fun. So we're going to dive into questions.
All of the good questions. All right.
Whose question should we start with? We should start with Glenneth, because Glenneth, you posted your question first.
Yeah.
And we have it. We copied and pasted it into our document. But if you want to elaborate on it for the sake of everyone else, since you're live, if you weren't live, we would have just read it. But since you're live, you go ahead and let us know.
Look and see exactly what I put. It's been one of those days, people.
Do you want me to copy it into the chat for you?
No, I can go look.
Okay. Because I don't mind.
I'm good. Oh, crap. So I wrote, where to start, getting started. My content is so numbers based. It's, I look at analytics. I'm a numbers geek in that. I look at Google Ads. I look at cost per click, clicks, impressions. 90% of what I do, or 90% of my clients' goals, are around numbers. More page views, more clients, more users, more, which happened to be my word of the year, actually. But
that's so funny.
Isn't that funny? But yeah, it's to grow, better rankings, better at this and that. But I know that a lot of people just find that really boring. It's like, I like the numbers, but yet numbers are really dry and boring, and how to showcase that in a fun, cool, creative way that people will stop and read or look at, or, every now and then I screenshot, especially as I'm doing monthly reports. So at least once a month, I'm usually showing, clients have gone up, and a couple times, I've shown that they've gone down and said, it's not always, roses, things happen, organic's not a given, things like that. But I just, I'm coming on ending 2 years in business, and I still have no real content plan. And I know I need to be marketing myself more, just because, clients have attrition. I tend to lose clients at the first of the year because of people's budgets. But I'm not really out there showcasing what I do. I mean, I'm good at showcasing me. I love Instagram. That stuff's easy. It's the business stuff. It's the true. Also, I don't like to talk specifically about my clients, and because a lot of them don't want people knowing that they've got somebody else doing stuff behind the scenes. So I'm very careful with that. And it's like, okay, so I just literally wing it. Like every day is just, I wonder what I feel like posting today. So that's my question. Where to start?
With numbers. I'm going to let Brogan start because she has some great notes on this. And then...
Oh, well, you saw my notes that I dumped in this morning. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that I want to start with, I think, is, well, firstly, going through this process in Cultivate Your Content is going to basically completely answer that question and help you really solidify things and simplify things. So I think I'm kind of looking at today as almost like a like content SOS, like what you can do like straight away right now to feel like you're starting to move forward, so that we're not just like, just wait 5 weeks and then it'll be amazing. Like what, you know, what you can kind of do like right now in that sense. So just kind of a couple of reminders. So I'll start with the things that, you know, we've already said that you're doing really well, which is like obviously showcasing you. And I want to kind of reframe that a little bit for you, because you said like, oh, I'm really good at like sharing me and what, you know, I'm doing in terms of like day-to-day stuff, but not good for business stuff. You are your business. I think you need to stop separating the two things and thinking about it as like, okay, how am I showcasing myself today? And how am I showcasing my business today? Like, you as the face of your business are your business. And the reason that someone is going to choose you over another SEO expert, let's say like, you know, saying that like you're both in terms of skill set, like level, they're going to choose you because of your personality, because they connect with you better than the other person. And so really that's the purpose of your content. It is to show the person behind the brand, because that, it's back to that whole like, I mean, it's like a buzz thing, but it's like the whole know, like, and trust factor, right? It's like, I hate using it because it's so like buzzword at the moment, but it really is just, it's about connection. Like the more that we connect with someone, connect with a business, the more likely we are to actually purchase from that business. So that's kind of the first thing, is like, don't separate you and your business, keep them together as the one thing. In terms of like deciding what kind of content or what direction to go with, I was listening to, and I can like, guys, I find links and resources for like everything. So like I will be dropping stuff in the Facebook group when I stumble across things. But I was listening to a really good Marie Forleo episode on the call-in show that she does. And she was talking about when you're looking at new projects or just kind of like projects in general, it's important that you follow the joy. And I really loved that, because it's very similar to what Elizabeth Gilbert talks about in Big Magic, about following your curiosity. And I think that is something that we often forget when it comes to business and when it comes to content, because we're like, I want to do the thing that works. And it's like, well, you're not going to know what works until you kind of experiment and try. Like Catherine was saying with, you know, her year of experimentation, she wouldn't have discovered that audio works so well for her community if she didn't give it a go, if she didn't try it. And so I think when you're trying to decide like, okay, what direction should I go? Like listen to that, the joy, and listen to the curiosity, and just be okay with like trying things out and experimenting with things. And that literally is like pretty much how I've created almost everything in my business. And it's not always the like kind of like typical business advice about like, you know, what's your plan and have you done market research and yada yada, all this stuff. I think yes, that is important, but at the same time I think it's also important to just kind of like try things out and like follow and see. You know, we talk about adding fun into content. This is how you do it, by like just paying attention to what actually like what lights that spark. And the only way you're going to find that is if you're kind of like trying different things overall. So a way potentially, like in terms of like a little bit of research, the way that you could do this, just because I'm thinking like you don't necessarily have to, let me rephrase this. So a couple of people who do this in a really good way, but in different industries. So Laura Belgrave, who is a copywriter, she, on her email newsletter, she basically doesn't talk about copywriting in the traditional sense of like, here's my tips for like copywriting and stuff. She tells stories from her like day-to-day life in New York, different conferences she's going to, different conversations that she's had with her dad, the time her neighbors upstairs were like building a drum room for their 5-year-old. Like, and I remember all of these things. She literally sent emails like that like years ago, and I remember them because they're these weird, crazy stories, and I link them directly to her. So what I'm saying is you can showcase your expertise by showing it, right? It's like show and tell back when we were at school. You don't necessarily have to be like, you know, I'm good at what I do because like here I'm showing you how I do all this SEO stuff. It's like showcasing it in a way through like storytelling, because that's what's going to connect with people. So if you're not already like on her list, I would recommend just for a bit of like reconnaissance, like just seeing how you can talk about your thing without talking about your thing. She's a really good one to look at. Another one who's really good is Mai Kales. I'll type that in the chat. Oh, and it's Bell Gray. I don't know if that auto-corrected, Catherine, because it auto-corrects in my phone like all the time too. Bell.
It auto-corrected in our Google Doc.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it and I'm like that's wrong. Yeah, so they're two that just kind of like came to mind that could be a good way just to see like how it can be done, with how you can talk about how you can show your expertise without like showing it in that sense, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that was kind of like my major points. Did you have any like questions about what I had before we kind of add, because Catherine had a couple more specifics, I think.
Okay.
You don't have any questions for Brogan? Like that makes sense. You're good.
Yeah.
The one thing I think that's most important is for you to change the story, which we're going to get to in a future module, but just start thinking about it now. The numbers are boring.
Yeah.
Is that your perspective? Do you think numbers are boring?
No, actually, I don't.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're projecting what you think your clients think that numbers is boring. So I want you to like shift it and think about, how can I convince them that knowing your numbers and tracking these things and paying attention to these numbers and like knowing this stuff is exciting? Like, rather than assuming that they think it's boring, figure out like in your content creation, figure out a way to show them like it's so exciting to you. So like your enthusiasm is going to like rub off. So that's the first thing. And then I think I had a couple like random, like super practical ideas, but like if you just picked a day of the week and you could change the day of the week that it is, like it doesn't have to be like Tuesday tips, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like you can just I'd have like a name for it, some sort of weekly theme where you could do like a testimony or a sharing win from a client or for yourself. And you don't have to use a client name. You don't have to use anything. You could just say, in 3 months, we went from this many visits, this many to like, you know what I mean? I don't know exactly all the things that you listed off at the beginning because you went like so fast. I was like, didn't catch that because it's not my area of expertise. But like just something super simple, like create a really light, fun, colorful background and just like share 2 screens, like one, this is the before, this is the after, and start like a highlight reel of like before and afters, just like super simple. And the other like random idea I had, I don't know where it came from, but I was like, because you like things that are fun, and I don't know if you like candy, but like the thing that it made me think of was like, do a version of a candy jar guess. Like maybe like once a month. It's just something that you do. So like a really crazy turnaround story, and like you share the before, like four numbers maybe. And you don't have to say who the client is. You could say like the space or the industry, like this is like an online digital based business, in 6 months, and get people to guess. And like the closest, and maybe like a percentage of increase. So it's like, what percent did they increase in each of these? Or like just maybe one number, and get people to guess and interact, make it super fun. And the person closest to the actual percent wins like a free, like 30-minute, 45-minute strategy call with you, like whatever your lowest entry thing is. Like, I just think there's some super fun things that you could steal from like real life and have colorful graphics. And it's like, you can change whatever day you do a testimony on, but if once a week, you know, you're going to share one simple before after story, and always share the timeline, like how many months it took. Cause I think that's really an important piece for what you do. So anyway, those are just a few of the things that came up for me when I was reading through your comment.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I have lots
You know,
of
when you
notes.
said that that before and after one, it reminded me of, you know, where they had that trend, like, it was a few months ago, where it was like on Instagram stories, it was like tap to clean. So like
Yes,
someone would show their messy
some
space.
of those.
You did that, yeah. So people would show like their messy house, and then it'd say tap to clean on the screen, and you'd tap it, and then the next photo would be their like clean space. So you could kind of like take that idea as well and be like, you know, tip to like skyrocket your like your views or whatever, and just to show, like Catherine was saying, like showcase the numbers in a fun way. And the other note that I just wrote down then that I was thinking about as well, I think with your stuff too, it's almost like that whole, you know, when people are talking about like writing a sales page, and it's about like the features versus the benefits. So it's like focus on the benefits, because that's what is, wow, those birds are so loud. That is what is really going to draw people in, rather than all of the things that you actually get. So I think in a lot of ways, it's the same thing for you as well. It's not necessarily about the numbers. It's about what those numbers allow you to do in your business. It's about what those numbers actually allow you to create in your life. It's the difference between being like a struggling business to having a full client list or something like that. So think about ways that you can actually frame it and phrase it into like real life language or real life terms in that sense.
Yeah. So good.
I'm really self-conscious of me playing with my hair now that you've said that.
I'm sorry.
I notice every time I do it now.
We all like do something. Like I have to fix my hair if it starts falling out because it like bothers my ears, you know? So like we all have something.
Can I chime in with a suggestion as well?
Yeah, of course.
So at my work, we work on online driver training, and we do these coaching modules, which are like fatigue or speed or some kind of, you know, driver related thing. And there's often facts that we want to, it's like the scare, like, you know, in 2017, there were so many crashes and so many were fatal and so many had serious injuries and so many had blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of numbers. And it's like, so what we ended up doing was putting, it's a kind of an infographic style thing, like with little icons and big numbers and stuff. But like Brogan said, we don't leave it there because that's not going to work. Just telling someone don't speed because, you know, there were 100 fatal crashes last year isn't going to do anything. So it's then explaining what those numbers mean and actually, you know, what's behind it and all the rest of the psychology and stuff. So that could be an idea as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Woohoo. Well, should we jump to Aileen? Aileen posted a couple questions in the group. I don't think I saw anything from you, Anik, but I didn't check right before. But do you have a question with you that you can ask after?
I did just post something, but I can also just say it.
Okay, perfect. At least you've got a question. So we'll jump into Aileen's question and then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
So Aileen, you posted two, a marketing launch should, starting like with sales goals and content. Do you want to chat about that one or your other one with addressing pain points and problems? Which one do you want to jump on first?
Oh, I'll do the first one first, I guess.
Okay.
So if you haven't read it, I'll just paraphrase, I guess. So that's the whole thing of you find out your enough number for the year, then you break that up into how many products you have to sell and blah, blah, blah. And you reverse engineer the goal to make the content. If I hear reverse engineer one more time, I'm going to scream. Yeah. And like you have to start from this place of sales goals before you make any content. I never could figure out how your content related to this like ephemeral number that you were supposed to hit. So I was wondering if you could talk about that and had any advice, that sort of thing.
So from a non-content perspective, because although like I do create content, I wouldn't say that it's not what my business is about. It's only this one piece of it that I do with Brogan. But I would not base the content that you're creating on your sales goal. That isn't what it's about personally. But what you do want to make sure that you're doing is you want to have that kind of goal financially and what that would mean in terms of sales or clients or however you break that down. And you do need to figure out, okay, so at a conversion rate of I need to be growing my community. I need to be getting more people into my business, getting their eyes on my stuff and doing things that will help accomplish that. But I don't think that should determine what kind of content or the exact content that you create. Like, does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to focus your marketing efforts. So it's like, okay, if I need to, like, for instance, with Brogan and I, we had a great conversion for how big our list is for Cultivate Your Content. We know that if we want more people to join us the next time we launch it, that we need to like double our list growth. You know what I mean? So we are going to do multiple types of content to accomplish that marketing goal. So I would split like your marketing, like stop it there. No, okay, I have to do marketing efforts so I can accomplish this, but then create the content like what Brogan was just saying that is about joy, that you enjoy, the type of content your current community would appreciate, what comes easier to you. Because I have always found when I'm pushing to do a kind of content just because that's what should increase my list size or what should help me grow, it doesn't always, if I'm not enjoying it, that comes across in the content I'm creating. So that's my perspective.
Because what I found in the launch that I just did, it actually had the opposite effect. I lost a lot of people, and I didn't know whether it was because, I was having fun creating the content, but I didn't know if it was because I was asking for something, and I don't usually do that.
You will always lose people during a sale.
Of
any kind. Whenever you say, I have something for sale, let's exchange the value that I offer for money, you will always lose people in your community. I lost people. What was it? I should find, while Brogan's talking, I'm going to go find the last data. The last email that I sent that was like an encouraging note, I'm going to find out my amount of subscribers, or like see if I can find the percentage of my community that left because I encouraged them. And it was a
no.
There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? But people will always leave during a sale, which is why we always have to be growing our communities, because we're always going to have people that are leaving. And you want people to leave, by the way. Like most of the time, I'm not paying for you anymore. You know, like it's good if they don't resonate, if they are not receiving value anymore, if they're never going to buy something, I'd rather them just leave rather than me continually sending content out to people that aren't listening. So always go for quality and engagement over numbers. Cool. Okay, Brogan's turn. I'm gonna go see if I can find that stat because it was hilarious.
So just to like wrap up what Catherine was saying. So I think I haven't checked since the last Cultivate Your Content email, so it might have gone up a little bit, but I think we probably lost about 12% of people on our list during the Cultivate Your Content launch. And that's pretty standard. That's pretty normal. So yeah, like it happens. It's just kind of like one of those things. So back to your kind of like the original part of the question, which was around, why people say like, how do you connect your content to your sales goal and stuff. I think usually what people mean when they say that is about what Catherine was saying about reaching whatever your whatever conversion rate you need to hit. So usually they tie it to content in the sense that, okay, if you want to sell, X number of products and you've got this conversion rate, that means that you need this many people on your list or in your community. And then they then link that to like the type of launch content that they'd create. So if they have to hit this number of subscribers and it's like way more than what they have right now, maybe they do something like they'd run Facebook and Instagram ads. They do a challenge that was easily shareable. So it's rather than just emailing their current list. So I think that's usually what people are talking about. It's what kind of launch content you would create.
And
now,
I'm doing that. I'm about to go into that right now. So Aileen, you are going to actually watch me do this, because I'm launching my signature course, Set Vision Plan Change, near the end of November. And so I know, based on numbers, based on my list, based on how many people have already purchased this, I know that if I don't do a list growing activity before that launch, I'll maybe have 1%, but probably like 0.5% will buy, because so many people already have that program. Because it's my signature course. So I'm going and I'm doing a 5-day challenge with a free giveaway. There's going to be a point system for people to share. They've got a social image they're getting as soon as they sign up, so they can post on Instagram, tag their friends, tag me, get extra points. Like, I'm doing a fairly involved free challenge so that I can have an influx of new people, so that when I launch, I have higher amounts of people, and I've got newer people that are like, oh, this is so cool. Yes, because people tend to buy quicker after they join a list. Like, if someone's been on my email list for the 4 years since I've been in business and they've never bought something from me, they're probably never going to buy something from me. So like, that's an example of like what I'm doing. And I decided to do a challenge because people will see my face more. I'm going to do a daily video. So that's how I've chosen. But I could have chosen to do a webinar training and do it in 15 different people's communities, right? So like, there were options, but I wanted to do a list growth thing before the next launch. And you'll get to watch it in real time. And
awesome.
The launch is going to close on our last call, actually. So I'm going to make a note on the 4th to try to pull some stats and some numbers from you guys from like a real time example.
Yeah,
that's
that
awesome.
would be good. So good. Okay. So, Aileen, did that answer that part of your question?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay, cool. Do you want to jump to your second question?
Yeah. So my next one is something, it's actually come up in person as well. So I'm an artist, and I do digital art, and so we were standing at an exhibition and I was talking to another artist, and I was, just talking about my process and stuff. And she goes, oh, but what medium is it? And I go, it's digital painting. And she basically went, oh, you fooled me, and walked away. And that's actually not an uncommon reaction, especially from other artists. And they seem to think like I'm cheating or something. People who aren't in the, art sort of community tend to have more time for me, but I have to go through this whole explaining process to try and explain the value behind what I do. It's not just some like, you click a button and the program does it for you. So there seems to be this disconnect between how I talk about my art and write about my art, or, how it's displayed. Like if it's an exhibition, you get a little label, you get a title, an artist, a medium, and that's about it. And then how people perceive it. So that's one of my struggles at the moment.
Okay, so firstly, one, that was like so rude that someone would say that to you.
I know, right?
And secondly, they're not your ideal client. So what they think is really like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's still going to hurt. Like, it does hurt when people, say stuff like that, especially about something that we're so passionate about and we're so proud of. But at the end of the day, they're not going to be the ones who are buying your art. So it doesn't really matter what they think.
Well, unfortunately, at an exhibition like that, sorry to interrupt,
no, that's okay.
same artists man the exhibition. And I actually overheard another artist trying to explain to someone else how I did my art. And it was basically she starts with a photo and then she does this magic thing, like, like click a button and ta-da! And I'm like, no! So, okay, there's some education work that I have to do, but like that's not uncommon, that kind of initial reaction if they don't know me very well and know my project as well. So, yeah.
So I guess a way that you could kind of address that. So I know Caroline Zook, who is C Kelso on Instagram, she does like in studio, like actual painting with like paintbrush and paint and stuff, but she also does digital, like she'll also do similar to what you do, like do it digitally, and she will actually set up her camera like in the studio and she'll actually show the process of how she actually does it. So that could be a way that you could educate your audience and also educate anyone in your kind of like art community about how your process actually works. And like, you don't have to show the whole thing. You can just show like a snippet of it. You can do like, a sped up version of it. But that, basically you're just showing people like, hey, I don't just click a button and ta-da, like here this thing like just appears on my screen. You can show the work that goes into it. I mean, you could even do it as like a time lapse and have like the little timer down the bottom and literally show like how much time you're spending on each piece. And just start to show it. And, then if someone comes up to you and says, that Twitter thing again, you can just be like, hey, how about you go watch this video and my Instagram highlights and you'll actually see what, how it actually works. It's not magic, I promise. Like there's a lot of talent and work that goes into it.
I love it. Those are great ideas.
Catherine, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that part? Because I know in your question as well, you did also ask about the pain points and stuff. So we can jump to that if Catherine doesn't have, or anyone else doesn't have anything.
I don't have anything to add to that specific.
Sorry, I forgot. I popped. No, duh. Sorry.
No,
that's okay.
That's all good.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Brogan.
But the whole behind the scenes, showing the process, doing some screen captures is brilliant. Caroline does that so well, and it really helps to understand like what she does. And you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like that takes a lot of time.
And it also links to the other part of your question, which was about how you hear that you should be addressing like pain points or problems when it comes to your content, but then for art, like that kind of seems like to be a little bit of a disconnect between it. So I think showing the behind the scenes is also going to help, because it helps you as the consumer to like connect to the piece, because it's not just here's this beautiful end result, you actually see the process of it as well. So that helps you connect to it as well. And then I just had kind of like a couple of questions that you could kind of linking back to Catherine's module 2, which had all the journaling questions and stuff. But just some others that you could kind of like explore a little bit is asking yourself, what positive impact does your art have on others? And then also thinking about why people buy art. So, what are the reasons behind why people buy art? And then specifically like why your ideal clients buy art. And if you don't know the answers to those questions, then that's where a little bit of like kind of like doing community surveys and research and getting into people's direct messages and asking them will be helpful as well. Because I think a lot of times too, when people talk about like addressing the pain points and stuff, like I don't agree with the whole thing that you should make people feel like crap in order to buy your thing. Like, I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think that is so manipulative and awful. And I think that there's a way that you can do it. Hopefully that you saw like through our Cultivate Your Content launch, like we tried to just show that yes, content can be really hard, but at the same time, we didn't want to be like, if you don't buy this thing, like your life's going to suck. And you know, your business is going to fail. Like, you know, that's not, you know, that's not what we wanted to do, because like, it's not nice. So I don't think you necessarily have to talk to a pain point in that sense. And I think it's more about thinking about the lifestyle that your art represents and how your art fits into your ideal client's lifestyle. And I have a couple of, also Marie TV, because I was Googling this morning because I know she works with a lot of creatives and stuff as well. So I've got 2 episodes that you could check out. So I'll add them to the Facebook group afterwards. But she also shared this really cool quote from Picasso, which I just wanted to share. And she just said, well, Picasso says, but Marie shared it. The purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life off of our souls. And I just thought that was like a really cool, like reframe kind of
Bingo.
So I liked it.
That's awesome.
Will you say it one more time? The purpose of art is the daily dusting.
Yeah, so the purpose of art is washing the dust of daily life off of our souls.
That's so good.
It's so good. I know when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that is good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I think to bounce off of one of the things that Brogan was saying, the whole concept of you don't need to make people feel like crap just so that they'll buy whatever you have. I do think it's important, though, to meet people where they're at. So without making them feel bad, acknowledge where they are and give them hope for what could be. So, and I think there's a difference in how you like word that. So don't be like, oh, well, I never have to talk about like the struggles people have. Well, you do. You need to meet people where you're at. But I think a good shift for you, at least vocabulary wise, is going to be, instead of thinking about them as pain points, think about them as obstacles. What are the obstacles standing between your potential clients right now and them buying art in general or your art? What are the obstacles of them buying digital art? Oh, well, maybe this won't be seen as real art. So if I hang it in my house, people might be like, oh, well, that's not painted, so it's not real. Like, you know what I mean? So some of the things that I just jotted down is like how to even know what size of art you hang in a space.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I might have a massive wall, but like, I have no idea what size, or like, should it be one big thing or should it be like a collection, like a gallery wall? Like, I don't know. That is an obstacle, like in my way between me buying art. What height should art be hung at? Okay, so I bought it, but like, I'm nervous to put a nail through my wall. Right. So like even some of these super, super simple things about like how to like find art that like complements your space, like choosing art for your space, if, you know, and having like some visuals and like showing some different options of like, put your art in like homes, like use like stock image type photos of like rooms and walls and like people's homes that are kind of like staged, and show what size, like give us visuals of what your art would look like on walls.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are some of the things that I think could be like super simple, like posts for sure, like choosing art for your space and size and whatever, like some of those things you can just tie into like your Instagram posts. Even with like fun facts, like, did you know the average, like the middle of the painting should be eye height? Well, whose eye height? I hate that advice.
I know, right? I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, like the middle of the painting should be at eye level. Great. Luckily, it works for me and my husband because we're only like a couple inches apart. But for a lot of people, how do you know who's eye level, right? So like just those kinds of things that aren't maybe pain points for why people won't buy art, because a lot of people, it would be seen as an extra or like a nice to have. So when I'm making more money, I will buy art. But okay, pretend we all do have money. Now what? Yeah, anyway. So
Those are really helpful. Thank you.
Anique, it's your turn.
Okay, so my questions I just quickly posted. Facebook. One was in response to what am I struggling with in regards to my content, is this thought that I have often, like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not clear enough, I'm not being specific, and just really like coming up against self-doubt. And like even marketing people have told me that they're like, within your group of people, like why do they feel frustrated? Why do they feel unfulfilled? And, you know, is it their work? Is it the, you know, and I think, so yeah, so I have this thought a lot, like I'm not specific enough, and I don't know who I'm talking to, which totally holds me back. But I do, in a way, I do know who I'm talking to, and it is maybe a little bit more vague. It's not like women who are 45 who want to lose 50 pounds who have a corporate job. It's not like that, you know. So I can see how that thought creates self-doubt, and then that kind of analysis paralysis thing. And then so that was my first question. And my second question was just, you know, like so then my approach to writing content has been kind of like, okay, well, what's happening in like my life that I can just help people? Like, what am I problem solving for myself that I can share and help people with, you know? And they're like some more universal maybe things for like maybe women who are like my age, probably moms. So then it's maybe just kind of vague. And then when it comes to actually creating some things, so like I like to write, I have an email list, and I was writing regularly all last year. And then when I moved, I completely stopped. And it's been like 4 months since I've written anything, because like it takes me some time, and I just feel like it takes so much time. And my thought is like, I don't have enough time. You know, it's like, I don't like just sit down and write an email, like boom, in 20 minutes. It takes me like a good hour or two to like formulate it. I actually really like how Catherine does the voice, because like maybe I just try not to write and make it perfect. So yeah, just like how do I keep it simple? Like how do I, all those things, what I just said, those are my questions. Yeah.
So good. So yeah, first point is exactly what I said to Glenys. Going through this entire process is going to help you to answer all of those questions. And just, so that's like literally what Catherine and I have said, like I think it's in the workbook where we've just said like, trust us and trust the process. And like, you are going to get answers to these questions. So I just kind of want to phrase everything I'm going to say with that, just so that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like there is hope.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And if it's just like, Anik, it's going to come, like, that's cool too. If that's kind of the answer for now, I can trust that. So
yeah, that's, yeah, it's definitely part of the answer. I think too, that, and now I've just lost my train of thought. So there's definitely going to be some activities that are really going to help answer those questions for you. And I think both of your questions are linked in the sense that I think the reason that it takes so much time for you to create content is because you don't have that clarity. And so by getting that clarity, that is what is going to like help speed the process up.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say about like niches and getting really specific is that yes, it can be very helpful, and I've seen it done very well for different people. But if it's holding you back, and if it's causing confusion, and if it's causing overwhelm, then it's not helpful. And so just kind of an example of how I've done things. So I really struggled with this when I first started my business, because I mean, like, who needs content help? Like literally everyone. Like so many people seem to need help with content. Like I could have worked with so many different kinds of people, and it was just a process of really like, I really struggled with like, how do I get specific enough? And it wasn't until I kind of reframed it and thought about like, what was it that actually connected everyone that I had been attracting? And the thing that connected everyone that I'd been attracting was that they were sick of the shoulds. They were sick of being told that you have to do A, B, and C, and you always have to do it that way. And for me, it was really like what module 3 is all about the Content Her Way manifesto. Like that whole philosophy, it was a philosophy that connected and combined everyone. They might have had different businesses, they might have different struggles. And you can see that like even on this call, like, you know, we've all got very different businesses. We all have, you know, different struggles when it comes to content. But the thing that combines everyone is this wanting to find joy in what they create. It's wanting to find a sense of like fulfillment in what you create. It's not just, I want to put this thing out here and like it go gangbusters and make me all this money. I mean, yeah, that would be awesome, but it's also about personal fulfillment in what you create.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, kind of thinking about it in that way too, and maybe like, you know, go back through module 2 with the journaling questions and maybe just like branch out a little bit and think about, okay, like what is it that, what is my philosophy? What is the thing that connects everyone that's in my community now that I've worked with in the past? Even if it's just like getting some dot points out, because that's really going to help as you kind of go through the rest of this process.
Cool. I love that.
Good. I'm glad that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to say the exact same thing, but in different words, because, and actually this is a great lesson in content, because what most of us as business owners would choose to do is someone with another business just said the same thing that I was going to say. They just put out a blog post the exact same. Oh my gosh, they're hosting a planning party. I've been hosting planning parties for 2.5 years. How are they allowed to use the phrase planning party? I did it first. You know what I mean? And like we can get all like, and then we don't want to put our content out. So I'm sharing the exact same thing Brogan did, but from my perspective, because in content, we're the only people with our perspective. And so even if someone is writing the exact same things as you have a different story, you have a different background, you have a different lens through which you see it. And certain people are going to connect with you better than they do with someone else.
Well, so it's interesting, Catherine, because I think you and I have a little bit of a similar vein. Like I really am interested in helping people live intentional lives, but I don't want to do it through planning parties. Like that's not my lens, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not through planning. And so I was just thinking about that. I was like, you know, you talk a lot about like living intentionally and creating space for what matters. And I'm like, yeah, those are the same things I think about and I want to do with my clients, but what is different about what I do? And that's where I'm, you know, stuck, but it's, yeah. And there's like a lot of people who do kind of like life design work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But they haven't all had your experience.
Yes. Right.
So not everyone approaches it with the same thing as you do. Why I'm so passionate about, so for instance, I don't have a niche, like a typical niche that a lot of businesses have, or like they say you should have, that has a name and an age and all these likes and favorite stores and like, okay. No, seriously, I tried doing it and I was not finding my people. As soon as I said, you know what, I feel like my niche is a philosophy. And what people are trying to go after, like what Brogan just said, as soon as I switched it, I started finding my people, my community started growing, I started hosting planning parties, and like all these pieces started coming together so much faster. And so for me, it's not age. I've had women in my group program, like I've had in the quarterly, over the 2 years that I've run it, I've had over 60 women in the program, in 9 countries in the world. So it's not a country thing. Ages 20 from like full-time university students to grandmothers in their 60s with side hustles, from full-time professional women, like everything.
Yeah.
Single, married, various religious beliefs, kids, no kids, on purpose, like every single thing. So if I had let the specific business niching at the beginning of my business, like what I was trying to, if I'd tried to follow that, I never would have found these people. And so for me, the niche was philosophy. So in Modern Planner, I am looking for people that want to simplify, that are tired of the race. They want to slow life down. They want to be purposeful. They want to make decisions for their future instead of like always reacting. They want to be proactive. They want to create space for what matters. They want to make progress and realize that progress is perfection. Not people that want to hustle harder, push their body to the max. That's not my community.
Yeah.
If you're all about like hustle, 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 burnout, try to recover and do it again, like I'm not your girl. And so people don't stick around who have that philosophy. They don't keep following me. So I would just really encourage you to, beyond just content, think about your niche with your business, and do that like in the next week or so that you're more clear. That way, as we head into more of the content exercises, which are really going to help the different modules and stuff, that's going to really support you moving forward, because you're clear about the philosophy, the common philosophy of the women you serve. And maybe there is a bit of an age thing. Like I love that you talked about 30s and 40s. That's still pretty vague. You could, like, somebody in their, like, I'm having kids in my mid 30s, whereas some people, I have friends who have like 16-year-olds in their 30s. You know what I mean? Like they're in like, they're only like 2 or 3 years older than me, and they have 16-year-olds that are driving.
Right.
You know, so like you can be in a lot of places in that 30s to 40s. So it still is like very broad. So yeah, I would just encourage you to get specific about the niche of your business, because that's going to support you with the content the next few weeks.
So niche of my business versus what? What do you mean instead of what?
Well, because right now you just feel like you're struggling with content. You don't know what you're saying. So I think before you get clear on what kind of content and how you want to communicate to your people, figure out the niche of your business and who your people are.
Okay.
As that groundwork.
Totally. So you guys mentioned, or one of you, maybe Brogan, mentioned module 2 questions. So I just think it's that one page, right? Page 7.
Yeah. So it's just that it's got the journaling questions. So I was just saying, just while you're going through that, because that's going to kind of get you in the right mind frame, just add on a couple of extra questions around, you know, your own questions, just around your philosophy. So another activity that's really good actually in reframing your ideal customer avatar, which I'm the same as Catherine, like it makes me want to puke when I need to get too specific. So someone who does it really well, Melissa Casera. So she has an activity where basically you sit down and you think, if I could invite people over for Sunday dinner, like what kind of people would they be? And so you're thinking about, if you know, what kind of clients would you be comfortable and love, like spending Sunday night with, having in your house, sharing dinner with, opening a bottle of wine with, like, and that really helped me as well to like really come to this idea of like, I want my clients to feel like friends. Like that's, you know, the kind part of that ties into the philosophy as well. So that can just be a way to help you get specific, but without getting like to age and like where they live specific.
Right. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. I got some good work
You're
here.
welcome. Perfect. So good. Man, we've had such good questions.
I know. I love it. I love that we just like dove into like great, important, deep questions. And really our goal with doing this live like this with everybody, is because we all learn from each other and like what each other is saying. And that's one of the cool things. Like a couple of the group programs I'm in right now, like even if I didn't have a question to offer, I'm watching the replay because I'm going to learn, or ideas or something's going to pop up and I'm going to be like, oh, that would work with this, you know, like there's always that opportunity to learn. So yeah.
Yes.
So great.
So good. So good. Okay. Yes. So I would just, as a like kind of like encouragement, like moving forward over the next week, is just like the, you know, kind of what I shared right at the start with like in all of this, like across anything that you're working on, like all of the questions we've been talking about, is to like listen to and follow that joy and that curiosity, because that is going to guide you in the right direction. And that's going to help you when a decision seems like really tough. If you're like, I'm not sure which way to go, like really start to like practice using that as a guide, because that is what's going to help keep things simple, keep things fun, and also help you to be able to craft content in your own way, in your own unique way, that suits you and suits what's going to be best for you moving forward, and for the goals that you have, and for the priorities that you've set. So I just kind of want to end with that little reminder, because it can be overwhelming, and I don't want you to leave feeling like, oh, I've got so much work to do. It's like, no, just take it one step at a time. Catherine and I are just going to keep saying, like, just trust the process, like one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and it will get easier, and it will get better. Catherine, did you want to, any final
No, that was so good. I was like, yeah, it will get better. I was receiving the pep talk, so I got nothing right now. I'm just like, yeah, it's good. Let's do the work one day at a time. Like, this is my, like, just saying, like, yes, Brogan and I did this concept together, but like, we're always both on our own journey with content, and it's always shifting. Like, for instance, this week, I would have loved to have scheduled content. I didn't have any, because I had scheduled content up until November 2nd. And then that was it. And so I hadn't done my November stuff yet, but I've been having other deadlines. So like today, my Instagram story philosophy approach was share about what all my cool friends are doing. Because sharing and valuing other people is like never going to go wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to get steered wrong by like serving other people, especially when on Friday, I'm sharing a bit of free challenge and I would love for other people to share it. So it's like, you know what? The only thing that I can do right now is share other people's stuff, and it's only going to help me in the long term. But it's like, it's still just those moments of like, yeah, I'm just taking it day by day. Like, do I have some great ideas from my November content? Yes. Have I started working on them yet? No. And like, I'm okay with that now. In the past, I would have been freaking out, but now I'm just like, yeah, it's all right. It is what it is. I'll get there. So that's just an encouragement to all of you that think I have it all together with my content. I don't. Not at all. Anyway, hopefully that helps. I've come a long way, though. Anyway.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will see you guys all in the Facebook group. Next week, when the email comes out, there are going to be some days and times for you guys to select for your 2-on-1 strategy session. So be sure to reply back to that right away. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be live again, and we'll have gone through, like, module 4 gets released next week for Monday, and then 5 and 6 are the week after that. So, which is over halfway through the program. So we're at like a good kind of like midway point. So yeah, we're really excited about it, and we can't wait to chat again soon.
So good.
Thank
Bye,
you so
everybody.
Bye.